you've got a great investment background. You've seen how government operate here, abroad. Nobody's had a better perch from which to view the economy and to make judgments about the economy going forward. And as I understand it, when you were secretary, you had to have your money in a blind trust. And now the blind trust presumably is over. I don't want you to give us the names of stocks, although if you want to do it, you're free to do it. But give us an idea of the composition in terms of bonds, stocks, whatever of the portfolio which you've had a chance to establish here in recent months.
Well, Warren, first of all, you are a great investor. You do very good, very careful work. One of the things I learned during my career is I'm not a great investor. So I need to find great investors. I believe the system is, the financial system is stable. Banking system's in better shape. I do believe clearly the recovery process has begun. You and I have a common worry about the fiscal crisis in this country.
I'm going to get to that.
And you have one of the best lines I've ever heard as it relates to that. But in any event, so you just need to understand also that what Wendy and I are looking to do, we're going to devote the balance of our careers to conservation and the environment, and that's where our money's going. So I am not looking to make more. I'd like to keep what I have. And so I'm not looking at it with a really long-term horizon, because I continue to believe with a long-term horizon, the best way is to invest in high-quality companies and stocks. That's what I believe in. And if I was a young person, I'd be looking at companies that have got good, strong market positions for the long term. So I have a lot of what I have is in fixed income markets and money markets and cash, because but then the others I have tend to be in growth equities, because I still believe that the economy can go down and sideways and whatever, but outstanding, well-managed companies, and particularly companies that know how to operate globally, will prosper over a long period of time. And that's the way you need to look at investments, is over a period of time. I don't put too much stake in quarterly economic data, what happened to the stock market today or tomorrow. I think the right way to look at it for a younger person is over a longer period of time.
I'm interested that you said you have a substantial amount in fixed income. Does that mean that you don't worry about a decline in the value of currency?
Well, Warren, you're certainly not going to get a former Treasury Secretary talking.
But I could try.
Because I really do believe that, and I worked very hard at this, that a strong dollar is just very much in our interest and essential to the success and the preeminence of the United States of America. And I believe that the best way to have a strong dollar is, again, looking at it over a long-term view, have a strong economy, and to have fiscal discipline. Now, I'm not going to give you a view as to what I think what's going to happen with the dollar in the next 5 or 10 years, but which is what I'm really focused on, because we intend to give away a lot of the money over over a relatively short period of time.
So if I made you a trustee for my children, and I said you got to buy fixed income, would you prefer TIPS bonds, which are the Treasury inflation protected type, or the straight bonds?
I'd go to you, Warren, and I'd ask you.
I give up. Uncle.
I would ask you, and I'd take your advice. But I would ask myself the question, which really gets back to where you're going to go, which is that, again, which gets to currency a little bit. I have spent a lot of time outside of this country, and I've spent time in all of the major economies. And believe me, every other major economy, China included, has many more really significant challenges and problems than we do. They really do. And we're the richest, strongest economy in the world, but we have to deal with a relatively few very important challenges. And the biggest one is the fiscal crisis. And I shouldn't call it a crisis because it's not a crisis immediately, it's a challenge immediately. But one of the things I learned, and one of the things I write about in this book, is that it's very difficult to get government to act, to get Congress to act, and do anything that's big and difficult and controversial unless there's an immediate crisis. You know, we had an immediate crisis, and we still haven't got the regulatory reform we need. And again, that is something that's absolutely critical. But so I have no doubt that we will deal with this fiscal challenge at some point in time. But the earlier we deal with it, the less costly it'll be, the greater our nation will be, the stronger our nation will be, and the less burden the younger generation will have to bear.